Hello, everyone, and here we are again, back for some more COA chats. And once more, I'm joined by a familiar face. So welcome back, Bea, for part two of our COA Q&A session. It's been a hot minute. How are you doing today?
I'm good, and it has been a hot minute, but I'm really happy to be here with you to chat about COA a little bit more.
Yeah, well, thank you for agreeing to come back as well, to help address some of the questions that our viewers sent us after part one that we'd published or that we posted online. So thanks for coming back. Thank you to our viewers for sending in the questions that we are really looking forward to delving into today. Um, shall we just get stuck in then? Shall we get started with these questions?
Let's.
Okay, so one of the first questions that we received there from our viewers was about a topic I find really interesting. It was about rare languages, and you and I already speak between the two of us quite a few languages, European languages, that I think we could, safely say fit into the category of some of the most commonly requested languages that our clients ask us for when it comes to linguistic validation support. If we flip that as on its head and we look at the other side of things, or the end of the scale, and we look at rare languages, what do things look like there? How does the linguistic validation process differ from other languages, if at all? And how do we approach that at Lionbridge?
Right, that's a great question, Leah. Yes, the process can change definitely when we have rare languages. It doesn't necessarily mean that it must, but it can. So when we're dealing with rare languages, we try to get ahead of any potential challenges right from the start. So it's about being flexible and tailoring the approach to what the study needs. Sometimes this means that we have to figure out which parts are have a need of someone on the ground and which part can be performed by remote experts. So they might be able to do the job just as well. We also lean on community management a lot. Community management is our resourcing team. And they have built this amazing global team of consultants who are great at navigating tricky and niche language situations. So overall, while the core process is similar and most of the times identical to a normal linguistic validation process, we can definitely adapt it when rare languages or long tail languages, as we like to call them, are involved.
Perfect. Yeah, I suppose it's about being transparent and having an element of forward planning from the start so that we can actually build a plan and be prepared in the best way possible so that our clients can achieve what they need to. Okay, next question, and different topic altogether now. Some viewers have asked us, Bea, to speak on the topic of data quality and completeness. And I'd like to narrow that down actually. And for this question, focus on data collection, specifically from diverse populations. So the question I'd ask you is, what measures do we implement at Lionbridge to support high quality and completeness of core data collected specifically from diverse patient populations?
Right, this is an interesting and complex question, but we have mentioned multiple times that when using linguistic validation and cultural adaptation at Lionbridge, we respect the highest industry standards. Um, and this is because we want to make sure that every instrument is not just accurately translated, but also culturally appropriate, so easy for the target population to understand. By doing so, by following the standard best practices, we focused on bias reduction across all the localization steps. So from translatability assessment, which happens very early in the process, to expert panel reviews, to iterative forward and back translations. So we can catch and address any cultural or linguistic bias before a study begins. And obviously there is the cognitive debriefing process with diverse participants. So when we recruit cognitive debriefing participants, we recruit people from a range of cultural, linguistic, and socioeconomic background. And obviously this helps us confirm that the items are clear, relevant, meaningful to everyone, not just a narrow subset, and consequently to ensure completeness in the data quality.
Perfect. Really, really important. Thanks for touching on those various points. And we know how regulated COA is in a way, but I think it's important still to highlight these things because they shouldn't be forgotten along the way and during the process. Okay, next question and another topic. And I was really pleased to see this topic and this question come into our inbox. Is actually all about rater training, something, of course, which is of vital importance when considering all of the work that goes into the development of instruments. If then those instruments which have been developed over time are not correctly administered, well, essentially you're kind of limiting the quality and the extent of the data that can be captured from patients. So an important topic, and I would love to focus on that for this particular question. So perhaps we could just take a few steps back, and if you could start there by outlining just what rater training is. So in case anyone watching isn't as familiar with it, that would be really helpful, I think. And then the question we were asked was really about how Lionbridge is supporting with rater training. So how do we support rater training, our customers with rater training to ensure consistency and accuracy across different studies? Perhaps you could speak about those two parts of the question. Thank you.
Perfect. Yes, rater training is such an important part, as you said, Leah. And translation of rater trainings, that's something that our clients not always have in mind for some reason, but we do put a lot of care into that. So to answer the first part of your question, rater trainings are the structured instructions and the preparation given to clinicians, researchers, or site staff that are responsible for administering or scoring COAs for a certain study. And the goal of the rater training is to ensure that the assessments are conducted consistently, accurately, and in accordance with the instrument protocol. So to minimize the variability and the bias in the data collected during the clinical trials. What Lionbridge does is basically everything. We provide full rater training support to help make sure that COAs are administered consistently, no matter the location. So that includes everything from translating the training materials, but also creating the subtitles, the voiceovers, and the interactive storyline courses. And we're really proud to have a dedicated e-learning project manager team that keeps everything running smoothly and that ensures that quality stays high at all time.
Perfect. Thank you so much for explaining that. Okay, moving on then, Bea. Thank you for your answers so far. I'd like to have a look at another topic which is very important, compliance. I think already the fact that we're working in a highly regulated industry, you know, we get used to working in a very particular way, following kind of adhering to industry guidelines and methodologies. It's just part of what we do day in, day out. COA, you know, is a kind of in a bubble of its own, and what do things actually look like then from the COA perspective? And how does Lionbridge actually ensure that the COAs meet regulatory standards that are set by agencies like the FDA, by the EMA? What do things look like there?
Right, yeah. So we've discussed it in the past, Leah. Compliance is definitely a top priority for us. And yes, as you mentioned, we have to work with regulatory bodies like FDA and EMAs. And EMA, it can be maybe indirect, but we do have to always have them in our mind, right? And I know that I might sound a little bit like a broken record, but when it comes to COAs, and particularly the electronic ones, we have to make sure that the translated versions remain accurate and valid across the digital platforms. So one angle that I would like to give you today is maybe what we have found quite useful recently, and this has been the eCOA booklets that we have been providing to our clients. They have been a great tool for reducing the burden on the eCOA vendors and also speeding up the overall process for our clients. And in addition to the booklets, we leverage Aurora's AI capabilities that help streamline the transition between paper to eCOA. The tool reduces the risks of error, it improves data capture, and it just makes the whole workflow much more efficient. And at the end of the day, we use tools because the goal is to help studies reach the market faster while staying fully compliant. So by integrating smart technologies into COA management, we are not just meeting the requirement, but we are helping our client to improve their outcomes for patients around the world.
Excellent. And it's always that fine balance, isn't it, between making sure that we're compliant and staying tightly within regulations, but at the same time there are external pressures of things having to go to market faster and budget pressures and all of these different parts of the pieces of the puzzle to make sure they slot together. And I think that's actually a really nice example that you mentioned there. So thank you for that. All right, last question then before we wrap things up, Bea. We've touched upon eCOA in various videos in the past, and we know how common they're becoming already, so there's no surprise there. When it comes to the migration side of things specifically, how can Lionbridge support the migration from paper-based COAs to electronic formats and still ensure accurate and efficient data capture? Perhaps you could touch upon that, please.
Yeah, yeah, you said it right. So nowadays, LV requests coming to us includes equal migration about probably 85, 90% of the time.
Wow.
And this is just a testimony to how the life sciences world is evolving, really. So when clients move from paper to eCOA, we make sure that the translated versions carry over seamlessly from the paper, right? So the focus is really on reducing the risks or the risk of errors during the transition, because even the smallest inconsistency can have a big impact on the study. And at the same time, as you mentioned, we're making sure that the data capture stays clean and efficient. So the whole process runs as smoothly as possible. To do that, in the past few months, we've made quite some noise about a powerful feature of our proprietary tool. The tool is Aurora Clinical Outcomes, and the feature is the screenshot review tool, the SSR tool. So with the support of AI, the tool enables an automated and AI augmented process that helps us compare electronic versions of clinical outcome assessment against the original paper source with an unmatched speed and precision. It's such a cool tool because it flags layout inconsistency, it flags misalignment, content mismatches across dozens of screenshots in seconds. And even if the human keeps being involved in the process, and it always will, what used to take hours of manual and error-prone work is now a very streamlined and standardized process. So we have dramatically reduced the risk. We have freed up a lot of valuable time to our teams and to our clients as well. So if our clients need a demo, they can just reach out and we can have one ready for them.
Fantastic. Yeah, that's great. I love it when we can see that kind of marriage of technology with the human in the loop, always so really important. But seeing also the time reductions that are happening as a result, fantastic. And I think a lot of our clients will be impressed by this. And certainly the ones who are using it already are really appreciating it. So fantastic. All right, well, we've reached the end of part two of our COA Q&A session, and today we've touched upon a variety of topics from rater training to maintaining data quality and compliance, and then eCOA migration at the end there as well. Bea, thank you. I have to thank you as always because you didn't disappoint. You shared a ton of knowledge, some really helpful points I think you highlighted as well today. So thank you for that. And thank you also to our viewers who continue to tune in. And for those of you who, after watching part one of the COA Q&A session, sent us those questions that we were able to address, hopefully for you in enough detail today. We are, of course, available, eager to hear any more questions that you could have. So if there are some areas that you'd like to discuss in more detail, some requirements that you would like to talk through, we're, of course, here always and at any point to continue the conversation. So thank you again for watching. Thank you to Bea, and we hope to see you again soon in another video. Bye-bye.
Bye, thank you.
Available